This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so welcome to week 4. I hope everybody had a relaxing spring break and maybe got a chance to do something fun or get caught up with your work. And maybe you're already done with your work, but this is your last week at Full Sail. You've made it all the way through the Media Design MFA program and you're going to be a graduate of Full Sail University. That's awesome. So tonight I just want to quickly go over a couple of things like you should know about the media design profession. So some things you want to think about is what you can do with your degree if you're thinking of moving into maybe an ad agency or moving up. There's different areas that your media design degree has already covered. So that's with strategy. You've all become expert researchers. You've developed concepts. You've developed brand strategy campaigns. You've used project planning. Maybe you've done some UX, some art directing of your own projects, some animation when you were in month 6. You've all done some prototyping. Maybe you've done some front and back end design. Not really sure about that with what's going on with web design, but we'll talk a bit about that in a minute. But you've all got expert writing skills, you've got communication skills. So just doing graphic design isn't all you can do. But the thing that's going on in the arena now with your Full Sail media design credentials are going to give you a leg up because you have that master's degree, but you need to be a master of Photoshop, Illustrator, and design at a bare minimum. So they did some surveying, and out of 100 job posts, 76 required Photoshop, 74 wanted Illustrator, and 74 wanted InDesign. So if you are not up to speed in those 3 to begin with, then use your lynda.com before it expires and do that. Learn some more. The other thing you want to think about is HTML and becoming familiar with HTML. We're not all going to be designers on the back end. We tend to focus on the front end, but understanding the back end is huge. I've learned that the hard way after kicking and screaming and not doing any web development for 30 years. I finally learned HTML and CSS and JavaScript and PHP. So if I can learn it, anybody can learn it. So getting this under your belt is probably going to be helpful. So learn some HTML. UX and UI are huge right now. Everybody wants some experience in this, so get schooled on UX and UI. Matter of fact, lynda.com was visiting, it's actually going to be called LinkedIn Learning, but the people from LinkedIn Learning were here on campus last week, and they have a huge amount of UX and UI tutorials coming out. That's how important this skill is. So if you don't have any experience in this, start looking into some of the tutorials and at least grab, the materials that are there. Other things that employers are looking for, you need to know Adobe Creative Cloud. You should have typography skills, print design skills. If you can do photography, great. You went through branding in month 3 and you worked on different brands throughout, so that's good. You should have some Microsoft Office experience, and CSS and web design are also preferred. Some say you need 2 to 3 years of experience, and I know for some Full Sail grads, they haven't worked in the field yet. So what do? Well, if you remember in month 4, I told a lot of you that a great way to build your portfolio and to get connected community is to volunteer at some nonprofit organizations and volunteer your graphic design skills and your photography skills. I do that all the time. I've shot golf tournaments for a couple of organizations. I do print design work for an animal charity. The work, they don't have the money to hire designers. So if you can offer your talent, not only are you doing good in your community, but you're building your portfolio and adding expertise to your resume. You're putting experience down, and you never know, it might lead to another job. So the best paying jobs want at least a minimum of 3 years experience. So you have to work towards that. So doing anything you can, finding jobs here and there and building your resume is going to be beneficial. And it's really hard if you live in smaller communities, not where all the big jobs are, but now with everything being online, that doesn't always count. I've done some huge freelance jobs and never met the people that I've worked with. I did a lot for the education conference for the Department of Defense, and I never met anyone from the Department of Defense. We did it all online. So the biggest companies are going to pay the most money. So that goes without saying. So if you want to work for a big company, get your degree. Well, guess what? You guys just did that. So you are set to go out there and either change up your job or move up in your company or start your own freelance firm or get a teaching job. You guys are ready to do it. One thing that I learned when going kicking and screaming into coding for 2 of my required classes is codecademy.org. They're really good. It's free. You go on there, you can teach yourself HTML, CSS, PHP. It's an interactive community. So if you have any questions, there's always people around to, send you messages and help you out. So I'm big on pushing this now because if I can overcome this fear of the back end of web design and coding, you can too. So there you go. All right, so let's talk about some nitty gritty. Your Creative Cloud and your lynda.com subscriptions usually end after your 12 months after you use your code. So the minute you signed on and used your code, 12 months later, your subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud is going to run out. So if you started after 2018, your Creative Cloud is only operational while you're an active student. So that probably goes for most of you if you started after. No, that would be for new students that are just coming in. So you want to think about this. Usually you can get a student rate. So while you're still an active student, go ahead and look into Adobe Creative Cloud for students and see what they have. Now with lynda.com, like I said earlier, they're going to be going through a whole rebrand. LinkedIn bought lynda.com, and then I heard Microsoft bought LinkedIn. So it's a big, huge company now. So they're going to call it LinkedIn Learning. But right now with lynda.com, everything's still there, and you should have access until they tell you you don't have access. So I've heard students say, 6 months later, they still have access, and some, have it taken away right away. So if you want to explore anything in lynda.com, do that now while you still have your access for the next couple of weeks. Okay, did you know that you can audit classes in the Media Design MFA program? We're always changing up our curriculum and adding new things and changing things up. So if there's any time you want to come back and redo the branding class or redo the copywriting class or redo nobody's going to want to redo the thesis project, but any of the classes that you want to audit, you can do that free of charge. And since our curriculum changes, we keep up with everything that's going on out there in the market. So you can go through enrollment and audit your classes for free. So once you're a graduate, you're part of the Full Sail Alumni Network, and that is where most of our networking happens. As a Full Sail graduate, we're a very special community, and we look out for our own. So if you can connect with other Full Sail grads in your community, better for you, because it always comes down to who you know. I found in my career, getting to know people and finding a way in that way. So stay in contact with career development as well, because they always have job leads. They also want to hear from you when you get a new job or you get a promotion at your job or you get, you get a contract for a big freelance job. Let career development know what's going on, because your success is all of our success. And then you want to use your student status to join professional organizations. A lot of professional organizations offer students a very discounted rate. So look, if there's a professional organization that you would like to join, go see if they have a student rate and join now, and then for a year you can have access to that professional organization. And did you know that students can get 6 months of free Prime membership at Amazon? And after 6 months, it's half price. So while you still have your student email address, if you want to get some Amazon Prime, go sign up using the student section of Amazon. That's just a tip from me. I just did that myself. Okay, The only thing that's due this week is finishing up your discussion board. I know a lot of you did some work last week, and probably the week before. You were supposed to be off last week, but I know some people work ahead. So that's great. Make sure the discussion board for week 4 is complete with your initial post, reply post, and your reflection post. Then do your mastery journal and make sure you're following the instructions clearly that are in the assignment right there on FSO, and cover every bullet point, and you're good to go. I want to congratulate each and every one of you for making it this far and getting into the program. I'm really excited for all of you and what you have coming in the future. Sorry about that. My phone's going crazy. So hopefully I'll see a lot of you at graduation on May 10th. And if I don't see you there, please tune into the live stream, because we always acknowledge all our graduates from the stage, and I'm the one that carries on and gives big hugs. So I'm really excited to meet any of you that are coming to graduation. Okay, if you need information on graduation, go to Full Sail One and you can find the streaming links there and everything. If you have any questions about anything I covered, just reach out and ask, and I'm still here. And if you need anything from me in the future, please just keep my contact information and connect with me on LinkedIn. That way we can always stay in touch.